Alrighty, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be working on this 2016 Challenger. Originally a 5.7 car, now has a 6.4 high compression engine. Should come out to around 13-1 or so, running on E85. Car came in, I guess a few months after, or a few hundred miles after he had the engine rebuilt. He lost compression completely on one side of the engine. Come to find out that the shop that put it together put the wrong push rods in it, and that was hanging the valves open. So we're going to be going ahead and dropping the engine with the cradle out at the bottom, removing the heads, putting new heads on it, new valves, etc., and getting this back together.
What's going on, everybody? It's Matt from 9 Day Performance, and as Tristan just explained to you, this vehicle known as Blak Betty is now in for surgery. We're getting the engine ready to be dropped out, and as you can see behind me, Tristan's getting the exhaust taken loose. Why is he doing that? Because we're going to pull the entire assembly down from the bottom. That's normally how we do these processes. We actually loosen the transmission, the engine subframe, bring it all down as one assembly so we can get everything inspected, get everything torn apart, get everything torqued back the way it should be, and get it all back in the car. So basically what he's going to do now is he's going to go ahead and get the exhaust removed, the drive shaft removed, get the wiring harness completely removed from the engine, from the transmission, make sure there's no power steering lines, no trans lines, no anything in the way, and he's going to get that lowered down. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over what happened and why we're here, why we're at this point, and why the engine that only has about 400 miles on it is getting pulled back out of the car. And short and simple is somebody didn't do it right. As always, we tend to find other shops in Houston that are trying to get to the HEMI level and start working on the HEMI engines, and they just throw them together and hope for the best. That's not how you're supposed to do it. Blak Betty ended up having an issue, as was stated earlier, with the push rod length. The push rods were too long, causing them to hang open the valves. So if you guys don't understand what's happening when we're saying that, on top of the motor you have cylinder heads. Cylinder heads sit on top of the block. There's pistons inside. Pistons travel up and down, which is compressing the air. You have injectors that spray through the heads, which introduce fuel into this compressed air mixture, and then you have a spark plug that's going to ignite the mixture of the fuel and air, which is what causes the combustion process that pushes the piston back down. That's where you get your power from. So you get it from there, you get it from your cylinder size, you know, several things go into play for this. But breaking down the components as simple as I can, you have a piston, you have a cylinder head, you have the engine block, you have valves. Valves are in the cylinder heads and they open and close. The intake side opens to let air in. The combustion process takes place. The exhaust valve opens to let it out. But if you have the valves stuck open a little bit, one, you can have the piston smack the valve, which can cause catastrophic damage, or you can have, in this case, the pistons are going to be moving up and down, but they can't compress air if the air is coming back out of the intake and out of the exhaust. That's what happened. That's what we're dealing with now, along with the other problems that we'll find along the way as you progress and see the video go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get the engine pulled out of the car, get the cylinder heads taken off, and while we were doing that, while we were doing the initial inspection, we found out that the cylinder heads were ported by hand by the shop down in the Valley of Texas, and they didn't do the porting process right. Now, a lot of people that are on here, if you are familiar with CNC porting or hand porting of cylinder heads to increase the flow, you'll say that I might be overreacting. However, there's a big key factor. When they did the porting process, they broke through on the chambers into some of the water jackets. They had to put sleeves in, and they put epoxy in the ports. One, now we have something introduced into the cylinder head that's not a smooth flowing surface anymore. But two, E85 is what's being run on this car. E85 is corrosive, to most epoxies. So what's going to end up happening is it's going to corrode away or deteriorate this epoxy, and you're going to have a water jacket that's going to introduce water into the cylinders, and then you have an engine that goes boom. It's going to pop because you can't compress water. So basically he was set up for failure. He was set up to have a major engine failure in the very near future. But the good thing is the push rods were installed with the wrong length, which is a good thing for us. They also milled the heads 40 thousandths, which 40 thousandths of an inch is not a lot. but when it comes to cylinder heads and geometry, it's a lot for this process. Normally we surface heads 10, 20 thou, 30 if they absolutely have to. However, whenever you surface heads and the heads tend to get the valves closer to the block surface, to describe it the easiest way, we're going to have a bump in compression. The piston's going to travel the same amount of, up and down inside the cylinder bore, and your valves are going to travel the exact same, but now you're creating a shorter distance and the same travel, which makes the air that's getting compressed, it's harder to compress, so you're getting a higher compression reading. To kind of break it down for you the best way possible, if you guys already know how to build engines, you probably aren't watching this video, but if you are, you know what I'm saying, but I'm trying to kind of make it a simple explanation for those that don't know what we're talking about. So we're gonna go ahead and get those heads taken off and thrown in the trash. They're garbage. They're not worth reusing. One, they're surfaced too far. Two, they have epoxy in all the ports. Three, the port job really wasn't the greatest anyways. He also had some guides that were worn out and other problems that didn't get addressed, and that's what happens when you don't use a machine shop and you just throw a Dremel or whatnot into the ports and clean them up and try to send it out the door. But we have a resolution for this. We're going to go ahead and go to Hooper's. We have a set of 6/4 cylinder heads over on the shelf. We're going to get them torn down, get them over next door. They'll be fully cleaned, disassembled, CNC ported, all new seals. They'll get a valve job, so he'll have no issues out of these heads anymore. And we're going to upgrade them to BGE heads, which is found on the newer vehicles because they flow a little better, and they're going to flow even better once we port them. So we're going to get these cylinder heads put on, and we're going to get new push rods. And along the way in the process, Jose told me he wanted to change the camshaft. So we're going to be changing the camshaft that we're putting on this vehicle. It will be a custom grind from FRP, which you'll see later on in the build. You'll see what we're going to put in it, but it's not going to be anything off the shelf. It's going to be something specifically made for Blak Betty, which is a high compression, high RAM, high RPM, high everything. And this car, to be quite frank with you, is going to hurt a lot of Hellcats' feelings if they're stock. Stock Hellcats are going to be intrigued to see what's under the hood when they get gapped by a car that doesn't have a power adder. All it has is a whole bunch of power and an engine that was built right. So we're gonna finish getting this together. If you guys haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, turn on those bell notifications so you can get notified of our new upcoming videos, so you can stay up to date with what we're doing at Night and Day Performance. If you have anything that you want to see, you want us to cover, you want us to show you how to do, leave it down in the comments section. I'm not going to hide anything from you. All my customers here know we give you a full transparent build process. We'll send you videos of your installation. We'll send you pictures. We'll send you pictures of the damages, pictures of the good things. We'll send you the whole process. We don't hide anything here at Night and Day Performance. We like to show you the difference in your vehicle from the time it comes in to the time it leaves, and include you in the build process. So if you guys have any other questions, leave them down in the comments. Reach out to us at nightandDayPerformance.com, where you can find merch. You can find a lot of our parts. You can find the FRP cam kits. You can find miscellaneous parts. If you don't see it on our site, we do sell it. If it's for the Gen 3 HEMI or for your LS platforms, we have it, we sell it. Just shoot us a message and we can get you invoiced for whatever you need at a better price than what you're gonna find anywhere else on the internet. And we do price match with any other reputable competitor, as long as they're reputable and the kits are, the same thing of what we're getting. Only thing we don't price match on are our FRP cam kits, because you have to pay the price to have the best cam kit on the market. So you're gonna have to pay a little more if you wanna get an FRP cam kit. Sorry to tell you that, but if you wanna be the best, you gotta pay to be the best. So we're gonna jump back over. Tristan's gonna finish getting this torn down, and he's gonna have the assistance of Cam, our other tech. They're gonna get the motor taken out, they're gonna get the motor torn down, and we're gonna go into our next video, which will be fixing the problems that we have and getting Blak Betty back together, back ready to go out on the streets and start having some more fun. Well, I'm out. I'll catch you guys on the next one. You guys have a beautiful, blessed day. Night and Day Performance is out. My guys are gonna continue working in the background. Catch you guys on the next one.
Alright, give you guys a little update. Got Blak Betty back on the lift. Got the heads back from machine shop, almost done. What we're about to do is go ahead and reinstall the cam, get the front of the motor all put back together, get the lifters in, get the head on, and we're going to go ahead and check piston and valve clearance. That way we can know how much we are going to surface the heads for this max effort NA build.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And what we're going to do now, while Tristan is going ahead and getting Blak Betty together, I'm going to describe to you a little bit of what's going on. He gave you a brief description and told you that he was going to be working on piston to valve clearance. What that is when your engine's rotating over, you have your pistons that I've showed you guys in previous videos. They come up to the top of the deck. When they come up, you have your cylinder head on top and there's valves inside. Depending on what stroke it's on, the intake, the exhaust, the compression, and the intake and the exhaust stroke, the valves have to open into the cylinder. Now, they usually open at the point where your piston's at the top. So when the valves open and the pistons open, there's a measurement. It's called piston to valve clearance. It's how much clearance is between the piston and valve. The reason that this is very, very important is because if you don't have enough piston to valve clearance, your pistons are going to hit your valves, valves hit the pistons, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, when you measure it first and do it the correct way, this is what you're avoiding. How can one change the piston to valve clearance? Usually that's done with either, if you want to get less, you can shave the heads. You can also do it with push rod length. If your push rods are too long, it actually will extend your valves too far into the cylinder where it can make contact. So what we did is we made sure that the cam is right. Those specs are very close, so usually you don't want to change much. You're just basically measuring to make sure you have enough with the setup that you have. So normally what you do is you take your push rods, you measure with push rod checkers, which we'll do in the video. He's going to measure to see what size push rods he needs. He's then going to put the push rods in that are the measurements that he found, and he's going to go ahead and check the piston to valve clearance. You can check it with clay or Play-Doh. You can check it with your dial gauges and measurements. There's several ways to check these. The easiest DIY method is clay. So what you do is you put clay on top of the piston, you cycle the engine over with the push rods and the valve train together, and the valve is going to make an impression on the clay. It's going to, because we're talking thousandths of an inch. It's not a big clearance that we're looking for. It's not a 3-inch clearance or a 4-inch. It's like the size of pieces of paper stacked over each other. So when we're doing these clearances, that's what we're looking for. Once you do the clay, you can cut it in half. Then you can take your micrometer or your caliper, and you can measure to see how much space you have, how much room you have between the top of the piston and the valve making contact. So most of the time, if you have piston to valve contact, you're going to have to get a different cam. That means usually your cam specs are off. With this one in particular, this cam has not been put in any Gen 3 HEMI yet. This is a brand new cam called the Sentinel from FRP. It's not released. It's not on his website. I'm not sure if it's ever going to be. This cam was specifically designed for Blak Betty, who is a high compression 6.4 liter HEMI with ported heads, Holley high ram, turning over 7,000 RPM. It's a powerful monster that we're making, and this cam is meant for this specific build. This is not necessarily a cam we would just take and slap in any car. You can't put it in a stock piston car, and it really works best with the high ram setup and the high compression setup. So at the end of the day, this cam is for Blak Betty. If you want a cam made like this, or you want a cam made specifically for your setup, reach out to us. NightandDayPerformance.com. We can get you the FRP cam that you need, spec'd out exactly how you want it, so that it's perfect for your build. Now, while we're doing this, I want to go ahead and make sure I mention that if you guys are in the Texas area, make sure you go ahead and look up Night and Day Performance. We transport all over the United States if you're not here, so we can get your vehicle sent here from DC, from wherever. The only place we don't support is California. Sorry. California is one of those states that have so many rules, regulations, and issues that we don't work with California. We don't ship to California. We don't want anything to do with California. Too many hurdles to jump through to get things going there. And then you got the state refs and other things. It's just not worth it for us. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like the video, and check out some more of our videos that are going to be found once you're done with this video on our channel. We have how-to videos, we have videos of builds, and then if you're ever looking to get your car built by us, you'll get the videos as well, just like Blak Betty and several others. Some of the ones we don't post, and even if we don't post them, you still will get the video links to your email, so you can view the process of your vehicle being built as well. A very transparent process that we want you to be brought in alongside us with. We're not trying to hide anything from you and bill you for parts and not put them in like some shops do here in Texas and other stuff. Well, at the end of the day, I'm going to jump off here. I'm going to let Tristan and the guys finish this up. You'll see me in here a little bit. My wife's in here. Some of our friends that come by the shop are in here. My son's in the background, as you can see there, just hanging out. My whole family's involved in the shop. But until next time, I'll catch you guys on the next one. 9 Day Performance is out. Stay tuned for the rest of the video with Tristan, Cam, and the guys, and they're going to get Blak Betty put back together somewhat, so we can get it thrown back in the car, get it fired up, so you can hear what this monster sounds like. Catch you guys on the next one. And instead of just letting you guys sit here and watch a few minutes of what my guys are doing in the background, figured I'd talk to y'all. First things first, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss what's coming up soon, and stay tuned to the entire video, as at the end of this video, you're going to get to see the first fire up. You're going to get to see the idle clips of this Sentinel cam from FRP. You're going to get to see everything entailed with finishing up this build for our customer Jose. This Dodge Challenger behind me was swapped to a 6.4, and he spent very, very good money. I got FRP high compression pistons, ported heads, several other things done down in the valley. Only problem is they weren't done right. Head bolts were loose. The ATI dampener was loose. Bolts were sheared off. Bolts were missing. What else was there? We had coolant mixing with oil. We had push rod length that was incorrect. We had the wrong preload on the lifters. There was so many things that were incorrect. Our piston to valve clearance, etc., etc. The more we touched on this car, the more went wrong. So we went ahead and ripped it all the way apart down to the short block. Our customer Jose said he didn't want to do the pistons and rods and crank because he had already had that built by somebody that he did trust. The other shops that he had went to had tried to do the rest of the work to finish it up, and as we can see, it's here. We tend to fix a lot of the problem cars within Houston and area and across the United States that other shops just can't get right. But we went ahead and got it torn down. In the last few videos, you've seen us get the heads removed. We got the heads sent over to Hoopers. We got them ported, polished, cleaned, surfaced. Got them over here. We got our piston and valve clearance checked. Our push rods have been measured. We got our custom push rods installed. We have our brand new rocker stabilizers installed. The ones that were on it before were good, but there was a few that we had to replace because they were installed incorrectly or stripped. So we got those fixed. We got a brand new ATI dampener because the old one was missing bolts and not installed correctly, and it was installed with too much press. So we had to polish up the crank surface on the end. So we had to do a little bit of work to get it to where it is now. But basically, we took everything outside of the short block only and pulled it out. The FRP cam that was in it before was the Trident. Because we're doing all this work, Jose wanted to go ahead and upgrade. Ryan wanted to upgrade, so we're now putting in the Sentinel cam. I'm not going to release the cam specs. These are a custom grind spec that was done specifically for this build. I'll let FRP determine if he wants to release that to the public, but this cam is for a high ram, high compression motor, ported heads, everything we have here, and we're going to turn over 7,000 RPM. You heard that right, a HEMI over 7,000. We're trying to get this one to around 7,800 RPMs, so we're making sure everything's done correctly. We've checked over our numbers, checked our clearances, checked everything twice, 3 times, 4 times. We're good. We're going to get this thrown back together, everything bolted down, torqued to the spec that it's supposed to be, and stay tuned because very, very soon we're about to show you the fire up coming up right in a few minutes, maybe probably like 30 seconds or so. The first fire up is going to come. I'm going to leave it playing long form so you can see our experience and come along with us as we do this first fire up on this engine and see some of the issues we have whenever we do it. If you haven't done so already, subscribe. Until next time, you guys stay blessed. Stay tuned to the videos. Go check out the rest of them on the channel, and we have plenty more builds coming at you. If you want to see something, let me know. Until next time, Matt from Night Day Performance, I'm signing off. You guys have a good one. Let's get to the new startup of Blak Betty.
You need to open this shit for me.
It's already open.
Oh, you want to get your computer?
Oh, yeah. Can you grab that?
I already sat down. I'm stuck. You fucking lazy bastard.
It ain't lazy. I'm fucking
I'm kidding.
Oh.
no throttle.
You got nothing?
No throttle. Make sure the map is plugged in and make sure the throttle.
Bluetooth disconnected.
It didn't want to fucking run.
Error.
I thought you were keeping it alive with throttle, but I guess not.
No.
Everything's good.
got a little chop.
A little. This is barely running.
That thing is how it's supposed to sound.
Yeah. Before, but not something like this.
What happens when the button comes out?
I was gonna say the redstone came off the
Perfect. Gotta get used to it. It is always doing. That bitch is nasty.
I put got chop? Question mark?
That bitch is nasty.
Chop or misfire? You decide.
Y'all sent it to Tristan already?
Nah, he'll see it on my story though. Alright.
That shit's fucking nasty.
Come on, Cam. We don't gotta do nothing to I think
You got the hose clips and everything on, right?
Hose clips?
Radiating.
Yeah. That one. It was only that one, right?
Yep.
Then yeah.
Oh, never put it here on the
Jesus fucking Christ. Can you put that on real quick while you got one here? The cooler thing so I can start putting cooler in it. Ryan just sitting there revision.
Oh, ready? Yeah. Jesus, he wants his bitch. He's excited.
Jesus Christ.
Remember when we waited half a day for a truck tube?
God damn.
Yeah, he's excited. Send him that video then. Would you?
About to. I literally sent the email. He's revision saying he's sitting at his laptop right now.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that is.
He's sitting there waiting.
I didn't even tell him I was about to start. Jump box is on?
Yes.
Somehow I don't want you to. We are finishing up Blak Betty, as you can see on the dyno. We got her ready, we got her strapped down, and now we're gonna see what numbers she finally makes. We had some issues. The other shop installed the wrong fuel system. Of course, we've been dealing with issues with this car nonstop because people don't know what they're doing. But we got everything straightened out. Jose's happy. It's running good. It sounds good. You guys heard the idle clip. Now we're gonna get it on the dyno and see what numbers it actually makes. I want to see you guys put some guesses down in the comments before they come up. How much power do you think Blak Betty's going to make on the dyno? High compression, NA, 6.4 HEMI, ported heads, custom cam, everything. Max effort build, 6.4. How much power do you think it's going to make? We're on a dyno jet. Anyways, we're going to get into it. It's already strapped down. We're going to get to our first dyno pull, which will be a light one to 6,000 RPM, so we can get everything dialed in and see if everything's correct on fueling before we go wide open past that to our final number, which we're going to try to spin to 7,800 RPM. We should see. Stay tuned. Subscribe if you haven't done so already to the channel. I'll catch you guys here in a few minutes. Let's get on the dyno and get rolling.
All right, so that went great. 6,200 RPM. That's pretty much on average for what, you know, Hemis do that all day. Not a big deal, not a big accomplishment, but it is loud and it is screaming. And as you can see from the dyno graph, it's not laying over. It's not losing power. It hasn't even peaked as far as torque. It hasn't peaked as far as horsepower yet. And once it hits peak torque, normally you still can have your horsepower gaining, you know, normally 1,000 to 1,500 RPM past that point. So we haven't even hit peak torque yet. So we're going to keep pushing it up a little higher. 533 horsepower is great for a baseline, basically. This is not a first tune. I want to say this is revision 3 or 4 for Ryan total on this car, including all the stuff we've had to fix along the way. So that's fabulous. Great job to Ryan. FRP, make sure if you're wanting to get your vehicles tuned, give Ryan a call, frptuning.com. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram as well. Send them an email, give them a phone call. If you need tuning assistance anywhere in the United States, they can do it, except Cali. We really don't work with Cali that much, but anybody else that, you know, is normal in the automotive realm that needs a tune, give them a shout. Ryan will never disappoint you. If you want to do something in person, bring it to us here at Night and Day Performance. We can do the tuning as far as the driving portion, while Ryan does the actual tuning portion. So we'll do the drivability portion. We'll do the street logs. We'll do the dyno logs. We'll put it on the dyno if it needs to be put on the dyno. So you're getting everything all encompassed all at once, and you don't have to do anything besides give me your vehicle and give me a little bit of money so we can get it done. Anyways, we're going to jump to the next pull. We're going to bump it up about 1,000 RPM. Because it didn't even seem like it bothered anything with 6,200. Let's pull to 7,200 and see how this car does. Alright, it took it like a champ. 7,200 RPM, didn't even bother the car at all. It took it without an issue, without a hiccup, without a hesitation. And as you can see there on the dyno graph, 583 rear wheel horsepower on this exact same dyno, stock 392s. On a normal basis, we see 420 to 430 out of them on average. We've seen as low as 410. Put that into account, we have over 150 rear wheel horsepower gain on an NA car. No nitrous, no supercharger, no turbo, just all pure motor. And that's basically because of the parts that we're using in this motor. FRP's drop-in pistons, FRP's custom grind Sentinel cam that we had made specifically for this build. We have Johnson lifters. We have the rocker stabilizers in here to handle the RPM. We have RPM springs. We have Pack Racing. I don't remember exactly which ones we had, but I know the spring pressure, I want to say the open spring pressure is right around 420 to 440 on this one. So it's up there in spring pressure to make sure that those valves don't hang at the higher RPM. So it loved it. It didn't have an issue at all with it. And now we're going to carry it up a little higher. The next pull, we're going to go, I believe we're going to go to like 7,400 RPM. So let's get to that. Let's get to the next pull. 7,400 RPM, not a problem at all. And as you can see, I didn't mention it earlier in the last clip, but we hit peak torque right around 6,300 RPM. So that puts us right on target to hit our peak horsepower between 73 to probably 76, 7,700 RPM, which is right on track for what we want. This goal for this build was for it to be a high RPM, high compression, roll racing, some dig racing, but basically to optimize power in the higher RPMs, and carry the power as far into the RPM range as we can. And to do that, we had to make sure we had the right camshaft. Camshaft will help you a lot when it comes to keeping the power in the RPM band and carrying it out over the entire length of the RPM range. So the Sentinel cam that we have is fabulous. And this one is not on the site right now for FRP or myself, because this one we made specifically for Blak Betty. Not sure if Ryan is going to start producing these, but we always make custom grinds with Ryan if you need them. If you have an application like this one that's not like an everyday build, we can do that. The high ram you see on this one is a Holley high ram. It's an LS and a HEMI high ram put together. So that's why it looks a little different than others. It has a custom little inlet tube. There's no filter on it. It has a bell mouth. Purely race car is what it's inspired for. But the car loved it. 7,400 RPM. You see the numbers here, 583 again, and then we dropped to 575 because what happened was we did 583 and for some reason something weird happened. I did an immediate pull right after the 583. So 583 slowed down right back to the first gear, came right back up and did another pull right after 575. It didn't even flinch at the fact that it was getting hot or anything else. I mean, it lost maybe 10, but all accounts, it's good. So next, we're going to do our spin to the moon pull. We're going to turn it to 8,000 RPM. Ryan told me to go to 78. However, I got a little happy and I spun it to 79.99, I think it was. So 8,000 RPM. And do you guys think it held together? Do you think it did fine? You're about to find out. So let's jump into that. Let's hear this HEMI, and I'm going to give you a front view, and then I'm going to give you a view of under the car so you can really hear what a HEMI sounds like turning 8,000 RPM. Stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already. Let's get to the video. There you have it. 8,000 RPM without a flinch, without a hesitation, without a problem. That's what happens when you have stuff built the correct way. We have everything done, spec'd out, clearance, measure-wise. Everything is good. The motor ran fabulous, and it makes the power. Now, do we need to spin it to 8,000 RPM? No. A lot of people are going to say, hey, you hit peak power around 7,400 RPM. Why were you spinning to 8,000? Because I don't care. We wanted to see what it would do. We wanted to see how long it would carry the power and how bad it fell off after that point. And it really didn't. It fell off a little bit in the power, but as you can see in the dyno graph, it kind of went to that 583 and it just pretty much carried it out and stayed right around that range. It dropped a few horsepower, but that tells you that you can literally take this car and race it and have fun at the higher RPMs, and you're still going to keep maintaining that good power. So great thing. Great job on the tuning, Ryan. Appreciate it. If you guys are looking for a build for yourself, give us a shout. Night and Day Performance. It's www.nightandayperformance.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We have our website. We have our phone number, 713-344-2191. If you're looking to get a build done, let us know, and we can make sure that we get you on the schedule, and we can get you everything spec'd out the way you need it, and get you however you want your car. We can make it happen. And don't worry, if you're not in the Houston area, we can send a transport truck to come pick your car up and bring it to us no matter where you are in the United States, as long as you're not in Cali. Didn't think you guys were going to pass with that one. We don't deal with California residents. It has nothing against you. We don't like your government. You guys have way too many rules, regulations against aftermarket cars. We don't want to get intertwined with it. We don't want to entertain it. We don't want to argue with California's government. And we don't want customers getting mad at us because their car is getting sent over to get inspected, getting flagged, getting pulled over, getting tickets. Don't even want to deal with it. So if you're in Cali, sorry. All the rest of the United States, give us a shout. We'll get you taken care of. What's going on, everybody? It's Matt from Night and Day Performance. As you can see behind me is Blak Betty, the vehicle that we just finished that you saw on the dyno. And now we are getting it ready for delivery. We're gonna go ahead and get it, we got it cleaned up. And we're gonna now show you the car, do a walkover before it's picked up. So letting you see what we've done to it and what's already been done to it. So Blak Betty, as you can see, is on a drag pack with hood pins. Underneath the hood, you have a beautiful 6.4 HEMI that now has high compression drop-ins from FRP. It has the Sentinel cam kit, fully built valve train, ready for 8,000 RPM. You can see here we have a Tap Performance double pump return system in this one because it ran out of fuel. This intake is a design of the customer's wanting. That's how he wanted it done. That's how he had it already. Inside the car, as you can see, doesn't really have much to it. This is his daily driver race car. So inside there's not extra seats, there's not extra weight other than the parts that are in the back still, but as you can see, this beautiful Dodge Challenger is ready to go tear up the streets of Houston.